Okay, so thank you very much. We are representing today a project called Ocean Energy Eranet Cofund, in which 13 projects have been founded. And we are with 3 project coordinators. Matt Dixon from Corporate Ocean, who is representing the project UMAC. Pierre Ingmarsson from RISE, representing the project Sea Snake, and Javier Ramirez from Aquaterra, representing the project Evolve. So I will ask you to present yourself a little bit and your project. So in few sentences.
Yeah, hello, my name's Matt Dixon, head of projects at Core Power Ocean. Core Power is a wave energy device developer, but this project in UMAC was actually developing a new anchor system for ocean energy technology. So there's a huge gap in the market for an anchor that is good at being deployed in sands and for loads that are pulling upwards and cyclically. So this is really applicable for any floating wind turbine developers out there that are looking for an anchor of such description. This is what we think we have developed in the project. You can see in some of the key results came out of the project, the UMAC anchor, if I get to the right slide here. This is the one we want to look at. So the end result of the project is what we're looking at on the screen here, which is the UMAC anchor. So it's essentially a monopile, but it's got a special end connector tip on the end of the monopile, and this allows you to go to about 500% capacity versus a normal monopile. So if you're a wind developer and you're choosing monopiles for your deployment based on cost alone, then this is by far the most cost-effective choice. You're looking at about 15 meganewtons of holding capacity in sands vertically for only 45 tons of steel per anchor. So it's an extremely structurally efficient anchor, and it works by installing with vibro hammer technology. So it means you can install the anchor with almost no resistance, because the vibration almost like liquefies the sand and reduces the install resistance to the anchor. And then a really nice thing about it is that you can actually decommission the anchor 100% at the end of your project as well by reversing the installation sequence. Negligible to impact to marine mammals as well. Vibro hammering is known to be a lot quieter compared to impact hammering as well. We're really happy that we've deployed the anchor. Actually, 2 days ago, we just managed to deploy the full-scale anchor with Maersk out off the coast of Portugal at full scale. And over the coming months, we'll be attaching our wave energy converter to this anchor. So that's the UMAC project.
So now we're presenting the project of Pierre Ingmarsson from RISE, which is called Sea Snake. So Pierre, can you introduce yourself a little bit?
Thank you. My name is Pierre Ingmarsson. I come from RISE, Research Institutes of Sweden. Let's see if we can get some slides up first. And I'm presenting the Sea Snake project, where we have developed a dynamic cable. I think we have a slight slide issue, so we'll work out the technical issues. So the Sea Snake project has successfully developed a dynamic cable for ocean energy devices. So it's a lightweight cable, reducing the weight on armoring, where we have taken that away. This has also, given us some interesting challenges in testing. So this cable has the potential to connect ocean energy devices together with the user cases that we've included in the project. We have core power, we have ocean energy ocean harvesting, and sea power and wasteful power in the project. So it's a connection cable that goes from the ocean energy device to the hub, and we tested it in Nantes with Gustave de Eiffel University. And according to the recommended DMV standards, we also done a few testing on the biofouling systems, which has a huge impact on the system in itself and the surface and life of the cable. And together with Wave in Ireland, we've done all the calculations in on the service and maintenance. So if you're looking for a cable to connect for Ocean Energy devices, this is a project you should look into for the future. And as it is highly optimized for your systems. Thank you.
And we will now present the project Evolve by Javier Ramirez from Aquaterra. So, in a few moments. Do you have it? Okay, perfect. So the floor is yours.
Thank you. So I'm Javier Ramirez from Aquaterra, which is a consultancy company based in Scotland, who is leading the consortium of the Evolve project called Economic Value of Ocean Energy. And this project is trying to answer the question whether the ocean energy can provide additional benefits to low-carbon energy systems. For that, a consortium with partners from 3 different countries was created under the Ocean Eranet Cofund call. And we are trying to answer that question through 2 different types of modeling. One is a spatial modeling, a GIS modeling led by Aquaterra. And then the other one is a power systems modeling or economic modeling led by the University of Edinburgh and with the collaboration of RISE and WAVEC. And of course, both Orbital and Core Power as tidal and wave energy developers are also supporting all these modelings. And as far as we can tell, the spatial modeling and also the economic modeling is telling us that we are already getting some positive results from the introduction of wave and tidal energy into the systems. We can see that we are getting reduction in system dispatch costs, in the amount of fossil fuel generation. We are seeing reduction in carbon emissions, and we are capturing higher market prices. Thank you.
So thank you very much for this introduction and the presentation of the different projects. So we have 3 projects. So from the Ocean Energy Eranet Cofund project, and Karen, who is the coordinator of the project, will ask some questions regarding the European funding and more generally the partnerships, European partnerships and collaboration project in MRE.
Thank you, Thomas. I'm very pleased to be here today as the coordinator of Ocean Eranet Cofund and to have the projects here that we've been able to support over the last few years. So just a few questions. The first one really is, apart from the money, what are the main benefits that the Eranet funding has brought to the projects and to your organisations? And how has it helped to remove obstacles to research and development, reduce risks of innovation, and so on?
Yeah, I think one of the main benefits is the cross-sector learning as well. So a lot of our project partners were coming from oil and gas. So it's a really good example of using all the skills that are developed in oil and gas and using it towards ocean energy. So working with TTI, for example, Turner Energy, geotechnical specialists based in Aberdeen for oil and gas exploration, but turning their skills to the wave and floating wind sector. So that's really key. And also the fact that it has that open stamp, it seems to get people quite excited for these projects. We had to actually change one project partner in the middle of the project to bring Turner Energy in. It didn't take much convincing them because they see it as a big exposure opportunity, networking to grow their ecosystem as well as a project partner. So that's a major benefit, I would say.
Yeah, I would say we wouldn't get this far without collaboration and the synergies that we get between the different organizations. In Sweden, we probably have these resources somewhere, but I would say they are much more stronger when we pull them together on European level. There are, I would say, when I sent out the last email in the consortia, I wrote that I'm very happy over this value chain that we have in the project. It's filling all the exact what we are doing in the project that we need to what we need to do in order to get to reduce the uncertainties to get to a cable that works for the ocean energy. Thank you.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you both have said. It is usually easier to work with people in your same city, region, or country. But if you want to go a step forward and work towards the edge of the knowledge, we can say, you have to have a wider, you have to work with people who are very good in what they do. And of course, you need to look broader for that.
Okay, I realise that two of the projects aren't finished yet, but I'm going to ask you what you think is your sort of biggest achievement so far from the project.
I think the biggest achievement from the UMAC project is the fact that we've now verified a full-scale anchor at 15 meganewtons for the ocean sector. I think that's quite impressive, and also it's mitigated three main challenges of anchoring. I mean, if you ask any anchor designer what's the worst load conditions you can have, it's if the load is cyclic, i.e. going on and off, and also pulling up on your anchor, not statically pushing down, and then in addition to that being cost effective, so not having a huge monopile or gravity. So and also to be deployed in sand conditions as well, not clays. So we've managed to mitigate all of those previously existing limitations in the anchoring market. So I'd say the UMAC project's really outperformed and actually delivered a new product basically to the sector that hasn't existed to date.
Well, I would say it's producing a cable or validating a cable, both via simulation and both in tests in labs and on the LCOE calculations. And this cable is a light construction. It's in comparison to a cable that has an armoring. This is a very lightweight design or a cable. And I think from that perspective, I think that's the most important thing for an ocean energy device, to reduce weight and reduce the cost. Thank you.
In our case, I would say that, we started the project with an hypothesis. And probably our biggest achievement is being able to prove that hypothesis. And we had a risk that the answer would be no, that introducing a wave and tidal energy into the system wouldn't make any difference. But our results are actually showing that they make a difference. So probably that's our biggest achievement so far.
And I think that's an important contribution for the whole sector going forward. Can I ask you, the additional funding obviously comes with some additional requirements as well in terms of administration and so on. Can I ask you basically how you feel about that in terms of whether it's a barrier or whether it's something that's quite manageable, and also what you might say to a company who's not been involved in a European project before, but is thinking about it. What would you say to them about how to get involved?
Well, European level is always a challenge for a company who hasn't been involved before. It's going to be that way always, I think. It's not going to change. But it's also a question for me as a coordinator to help support that process. Yes, in the Ocean Eranet Cofund projects, there are a few more things to consider. But I think I've been together with Ocean Energy Eranet Cofund since the beginning. You get to know one another and you find good ways to deal with things within the projects. I think being proactive is good, and keeping those relations up to speed, it's vital. And even though you're working with many different financiers, this is an important journey for us as a coordinator to understand the different aspects of different countries. It's a part of a project to understand those. So even though it's a little bit of a challenge to do those, I think those are important ones, because those where we learn how to collaborate.
Yeah, I would probably say that small consortiums like these ones are usually easier to coordinate. And at least from our perspective, of course, it takes some work to coordinate and to take care of all the financial and all of the administrative parts of the project and the coordination. But it's something that needs to be done, and it's not bigger than any other administrative work that any company has to do. So it's nothing out of any company's league.
Yeah, I'd just say it opens a parallel path as well to try your R&D track out without disturbing maybe your main bread and butter of your business, which is good. In the case of UMAC, it happened to turn out to be a main pillar of the business in the end, so that was an unexpected result, but it shows how well it can go in these projects. In the worst case, it was going to be a really good R&D project to understand geotechnical engineering further. We've actually advanced the state of the art in geotechnical science, like full stop. We've done the most advanced centrifuge testing known globally anywhere in the world within that project. So even if we didn't actually end up with an anchor that's usable, we did. But even if we didn't, we would have actually pushed forwards the state of the art of the global scientific knowledge in the project anyway. So it's worthwhile from that standpoint as well.
Okay, thanks very much for those answers. I'm going to take the opportunity. We're coming to the end of the Ocean Eranet Cofund project, but we'll be moving into a new period of collaboration between the countries and regions, funding agencies, and new funding opportunities becoming available soon. So I'm going to take the opportunity to ask these three guys from companies that are very well experienced in the sector and in collaboration, what you think some of the priorities might be for funding in the future?
I would say sustainability is the priority. Sustainability through the whole process. Design by nature and get the things into the water without harming any of the ecosystems that is in the oceans.
You need more time to think. Yeah, I'd say I agree with Pierre. That's a very important point as well. But also for us in terms of getting down the learning rate for across design, costs, and everything, it's all about deploying as much as we can, as fast as we can. So all funding that can be given to demonstration projects for wave and tidal is going to get us a long way, because a relatively small amount of money for wave and tidal right now, given our installed capacity, goes a long way compared to more established technologies at the moment. So it doesn't actually require that much funding to really, really accelerate down the LCOE curve and in installed capacity. So I think that is the next real challenge for the ocean sector. It's just deploy as much as possible, as fast as possible.
Well, I will say maybe that, of course, we know that wind is very, let's say, ahead of tidal and wave technologies in terms of development. So I would probably say that it should be great to have always these two technologies in mind, because they can provide some very nice benefits into the system. And yeah, having some funding, I don't know if reserved for them or, let them, these emerging technologies have their share of the funding, because they are really worth it.
Okay, thanks very much for your answers and your presentations. And I think we can probably close the session now. Thank you very much, everybody.